From Citizen TV, this is Tonight with Sam Gituku.
Hello there. Thank you for choosing Citizen TV on this 13th day of March 2025. And tonight on Data Point, we're reflecting on a journey of 18 years. This is about the M-Pesa, a mobile money transfer service that began in March 2007. We'll be walking that journey to understand what now it means with more than 33 million users that are active at the moment. We'll also be speaking about the volume of transactions, which is now put at 40 trillion shillings. Imagine what 40 trillion shillings is, and that is the number that we'll be reflecting on this the transactions for the year ending March 2024. That will be on Data Point. But also tonight we have the news gang. But first, here are the top stories tonight. President Ruto's motorcade hits and kills a pedestrian along Ngong Road.
Na mimi nataka nitangaze nikiwa hapa Kibra leo ya kwamba kitambulisho ipatianwe bila malipo yoyote.
Free of charge, President Ruto abolishes charges on new national identity card registrations.
It's a very expensive undertaking, especially when you're talking about exhumed remains. Number one, you suspect it to be very highly degraded.
The long wait continues for families. Government chemist runs short of funds for Shakahola DNA tests. Friends, foes and friends. The Ruto-Raila deal and the workings of a political mongrel on Newsgang. Good evening. Our sign language interpreter is Njoki Shege. Now, we begin with the story of a man confirmed to be a foreign national was hit and killed on the spot when President William Ruto's motorcade sped along Ngong Road in Nairobi today. A statement by the National Police Service confirmed that the pedestrian was hit by a government vehicle. Elsewhere, several youth are nursing injuries after chaos erupted at Ayani Primary School as they tried to force their way into a rally addressed by President William Ruto in Kibera. Emmanuel Toh reports.
President William Ruto's fourth day of his week-long city tour took a tragic turn on Thursday afternoon. A speeding vehicle in the president's convoy knocked down a foreign national at Adams Arcade along Ngong Road. The convoy, en route to another destination where the president was set to launch projects and address roadside rallies, allegedly sped off, leaving the victim gravely injured. The unidentified body was first taken to City Mortuary before being transferred to Lee Funeral Home later in the evening. In a statement, the National Police Service said the man was hit by a government vehicle, stating, quote, following a road traffic accident that occurred today at Adams Arcade along Ngong Road involving a government vehicle, which resulted in the death of a pedestrian who is a foreign national. The National Police Service is now handling the matter and investigations have commenced. The details of the foreigner, who wore a beige coat, striped shirt and blue jeans with a beaded belt, are still scanty as his family struggles to come to terms with the tragic loss of a loved one. Reports indicate the vehicles, which were traveling at breakneck speed, were moving from Langata constituency, where the president was launching several projects, including the Affordable Housing Project Phase 2 and the Langata TVET in Karen C in Langata constituency. The vehicles are said to have been on top speed, heading to Kibra constituency, where the head of state was scheduled to launch the construction of Toy Market, TVET College at DCC grounds, and a rally at DC grounds Kibra. This comes as police were forced to use batons to deal with rowdy youth who tried to force their way into the Ayani Primary School in Kibra to see President William Ruto addressing the students. The youth who had first made their way into the school compound, pelting stones as the police pushed them back. Nairobi woman representative Esther Passaris and Makadara legislator George Aladwa caught up in the melee. In the end, the police, seemingly overpowered, let them in as they made their way to the main pitch where the president was addressing.
Vijana wa hapa Kibra muko tayari ama muko tayari bwana?
This comes as goons continued to have a field day in the rallies, with this man lucky to have his bicycle back after members of the public intervened when he was attacked by a mob of marauding youth who went about stealing and mugging people. Emmanuel Toh, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
In the meantime, Kenyans will no longer have to pay to acquire national identification cards. President William Ruto made the announcement on the 4th day of his tour of the Nairobi City County, declaring an end to ID registration fees. The move comes just weeks after he abolished the vetting process for residents of border counties seeking identification cards. Stephen Leto reports.
President William Ruto's arrival in Kibra constituency was to song. Breaking into dance as he joined Kibra residents in embracing the now Gen Z song that is criticism of his administration. As he traversed Kibra, the bedrock of Raila Odinga's political support in Nairobi, President Ruto announced that no Kenyan will going forward pay for the acquisition or renewal of the national identification card.
Na mimi nataka nitangaze nikiwa hapa Kibra leo ya kwamba kitambulisho ipatianwe bila malipo yoyote. Jeshi ya baba, jeshi ya baba, jeshi ya baba.
The president cautioned against any form of discrimination in the issuance of the crucial documents, adding that every Kenyan is entitled to a national identification card, regardless of their social status. Kenyans have been paying up to 300 shillings for a new ID and 1,000 shillings for replacement of a lost ID.
Kila mtu apatiwe kitambulisho bila malipo na kwa mpango ambayo haina ubaguzi kwa Wakenya.
There was, however, no mention of other charges on critical documents such as the birth certificate and passports. The president heaped praises on ODM leader Raila Odinga, terming him a patriot who stood up for the country during its hour of need. President Ruto's tour of Nairobi comes a few days after the signing of a memorandum of understanding with the ODM party.
And I must say this, that Raila Odinga is the foremost patriotic leader that has decided that the unity of Kenya, the progress of our nation, the transformation of Kenya is very important to all of us. And I want to tell other leaders, let us join forces.
In his promises today, President Ruto pledged 500 million shillings for the construction of toy market that has seen frequent fires.
Hii Kibra hii tunaona leo ni slum. Hii tutaibadilisha kwa miaka 10 ama 15, hakutakuwa na slum tena hapa.
Tutatangaza karandasi ya kuweka street lights katika hii Kibra Drive yote mpaka Bomolulu Road, ili wamama, vijana na wazee wafanye biashara 24/7.
Nairobi hatujui mambo ya ukabila. Shida ya Mkikuyu ni sawa na shida ya Mjaluo, ni sawa na shida ya Mkisii, ya Msomali, ya Mnubi.
Sasa mimi nauliza nyinyi, baada ya hii Kasongo bado iko jina lingine? Hii majina imezidi. Ati Chapo? Basi hata hiyo Chapo ni sawa. Tuendelee na Chapo pia.
President Ruto winds up his city tour tomorrow in Eastlands and Kasarani. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
Interesting names there. Now, 8 suspects have been arrested in connection with the robbery and assault of civilians during President William Ruto's recent visit to Ruaraka and Mathare constituencies. The Directorate of Criminal Investigations has indicated that stolen property was recovered from the suspects, as Willie Lusige now reports.
These were the scenes along Juja and Outer Ring roads on Tuesday. Lawlessness swept through the busy streets of Allsops in Ruaraka as President William Ruto addressed residents in the nearby Mathare area. Terror which was meted on pedestrians, traders and motorists left behind a trail of destruction and losses. Plain and uniformed police officers deployed to probe the anarchy say they have made a major breakthrough. 8 suspects have been arrested, among them John Junior Oginga, who was caught on Thika Road and taken to Pangani police station. According to the DCI, he was arrested for robbing an individual a phone worth 28,000 Kenya shillings, all while carrying a knife on that day. The other 7 suspects, Jared Nyanza, Darlin Lande, Daniel Okombe, Mike Robert, Elvis Otieno, Regan Omondi and Madhenge Gashiri were arrested for allegedly robbing pedestrians and motorists in Mathare Area 4. They were detained at Muthaiga police station. The police say they have also recovered 7 new t-shirts that were believed to have been stolen during the incidents.
Awe ni yule anasimamisha mwingine anapora mali ya mwingine, yote tutashughulikia vilivyo. Na tumeshika wale tumekamata, wameenda kutini na wengine tutaendelea kuwasaka. Muhalifu ni muhalifu, si ni kweli?
Police say operation to net all those involved is ongoing and no suspect will escape. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
And now to developments of a very sad story in our public transport. Police in Roiro, Kiambu County have arrested a matatu driver and detained a Super Metro passenger vehicle following the death of a passenger who was allegedly thrown off the moving vehicle. The incident has caused public uproar over how the matatu crew, which was operating along Thika Road, pushed a passenger from a matatu for lack of sufficient fare. And as Franklin Wala now reports, the family of the deceased is appealing for justice.
Disturbing images of a passenger who was allegedly pushed from a moving matatu has sparked anger and condemnation. The matatu in question belongs to Super Metro Sacco, registration number KDL 125N, and was on the fateful day being driven by David Nderitu. It has been reported that David and Ataut, who was part of the crew in the matatu, allegedly pushed Gilbert Thuku Kimanu from the matatu, causing his death. The incident happened along Thika Road at Kahawa Sukari. Gilbert had boarded the matatu from Kahawa when Dani headed to Thika. Witnesses say Gilbert was to pay 80 shillings as fare, but he only had 50 shillings. An altercation ensued between Gilbert and the tout in the middle of the journey. And it is here that it is said Gilbert was allegedly pushed from the matatu.
The vehicle was driven by David Nderitu, Jambi, who failed to stop after the accident, where one passenger named Gilbert Thuku Kimani fell from the vehicle and he was overrun by the rear tire of the vehicle. So far, we have 3 witnesses who have recorded a statement, and we are appealing to those people who are inside that vehicle to come out and give us their statement on what happened inside the vehicle.
Upon realizing what had happened, the matatu sped from the scene. Police were notified and the matatu was impounded and the driver arrested.
So far, the driver has been arrested and the vehicle has been impounded and now at Kawasukari police station where it's awaiting for inspection. The driver will be charged with the offense of causing death by dangerous driving. We are also looking for the tout who disappeared after the accident.
The incident has left Gilbert's family in shock. Somber mood engulfed the family home in Kandara, Murang'a, as the family tries to come to terms with the loss of a man who was a father and a breadwinner.
Alikuwa anafanya kazi ya mjengo na anakuja kila weekend. Ndiye tulikuwa tunangojea mimi si uko kazi. Ameniachia watoto wawili wadogo apate haki yake. watoto wapate haki yao juu wamepoteza baba yao.
As the family tries to comprehend this tragic news, their only hope is those behind the act will face the full wrath of the law and put an end to the reckless matatu culture being witnessed in the country. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
Can only hope that the family gets justice and soon. Residents of Makaburini Estate in Kakamega County have shared chilling accounts of being unlawfully detained for days by a group of unknown individuals. According to victims, 7 men posing as law enforcers took over a semi-permanent structure in the estate, ambushing and extorting unsuspecting residents. And as Laura Otieno now reports, these revelations come just days after authorities uncovered an undocumented police post in Uasin Gishu County, fueling growing concerns over the rise of self-proclaimed law enforcers.
At Makaburini Estate on the outskirts of Kakamega town, Lilian Chemayo is still recovering from a night of terror at the hands of self-proclaimed law enforcers. She was among tens of residents illegally detained for up to 3 days in what appears to be a well-orchestrated extortion ring run by unknown individuals. Victims recount chilling ordeals, ambushed, overpowered, and forcefully dragged into this dimly lit room where their nightmare began.
Nikauliza kana neti yani shida nini? Neti akasema kichapo ndio inaendelea hapa. Utakuda lakini kichapo. Na nikauliza ndio ameendelea kama mlango. Waje fika saa 2. Wakasema ule ugali uletu na sukuma.
Tulikula ugali tu kawaida. Kawaida vile unaweza letewa ugali kwa seli na ukule. Sasa kiboko ilitembea pale. Ilikuwa kiboko tofauti sana. Mlemavu kama anaweza pikwa.
What started as a village elder's mission to curb drunkenness soon morphed into a harrowing reign of terror. He recruited a group of young men who turned a modest structure into an illegal detention cell where suspects were held captive, punished and subjected to unimaginable ordeals.
Nilipikwa nikatupwa kwa hiyo nyumba. Siku moja hiyo mpaka nikalala usiku yote mpaka asubuhi, wakanitoa asubuhi mpaka saa hii bado na plead.
This amateur video captured the squalid conditions residents endured during their unlawful detention. Fear still lingers in the community, with residents alleging they have received threats from 7 suspects who vanished from the area after 2 weeks of terrorizing them. However, police reports say that 7 suspects were arrested on Tuesday in connection with the incident, so they are yet to be arraigned.
Niliona siku mrefu. Hata sikulala. Nilisema sitalala kwa hiyo nyumba yangu. Nikatetemeka.
Watu walikuwa natoka na 300 shillings ndio sasa utoke. Na ukitoka na 300 unachapwa viboko 15 strokes.
For these residents, peace will only come once the 7 suspects are brought to justice. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
So another story now. The government chemist says families of victims of Shakahola massacre will wait longer for the conclusion of the DNA analysis and identification of their loved ones. Authorities cite high cost of tests and lengthy procurement procedures as the primary hurdles extending the family's agony that has been on for nearly 2 years now. Brenda Wanga reports on the multi-million shilling process that remains a major barrier to the closure these families desperately seek.
The search for answers and closure has been an agonizing journey for the hundreds of families who lost loved ones in the country's worst religious-inspired massacre at Shakahola. What began as a desperate quest for truth has turned into a grueling, emotional and exhausting ordeal, stretching on with no clear end in sight.
Usuni sababu tunapitia hali ngumu, sababu mtu ukipoteza mpendwa wako ile sawa ni muziki. Ukishamuzika unakaa, baada ya muda hata kama utasahau, kama mimi siwezi sahau maisha yangu yote nitakufa nayo, lakini ingekuwa nimewasika angalau ingekuwa pengine nitaanza maisha tena upya.
We've been trying to wait and wait and wait, nothing.
That search, it seems, is far from over. The Office of the Government Chemist is now shedding light on the delays that have kept families waiting for answers, revealing the costly and bureaucratic hurdles that continue to stand in the way.
It's a very expensive undertaking, especially when you're talking about exhumed remains. you are not using your ordinary extraction protocols. You are using very high-risk stringent chemical regimes because the DNA within those exhumed remains, number one, you suspect it to be very highly degraded.
The remains retrieved from the killing fields of Shakahola were in varying states of decomposition, a fact that the government says has made the DNA extraction and identification that much complex.
The balance is still work in progress because most of the samples, as you may be aware, they were in very bad shape. Some of them have decomposed. They were difficult in us producing a good profile DNA. So in very bad shape.
These bodies were buried in soil. There is abundance of humic acid. And again, because of decomposition processes, that DNA is highly degraded.
The government chemist instructed relatives of the deceased to provide samples for possible matching with that of the victims, and some of them heeded that call. But the government chemist says those samples have proven to be insufficient.
If you have a certain number of bodies that are coming from a scene of a disaster or a scene of an incident, you require about 3 times the number of the bodies that you have to compare with.
But even if the families come forward with more samples, the challenge remains securing the resources needed for testing. The government chemist explains that due to the sheer number of victims and the deteriorated state of the bodies, a polymerase chain reaction PCR test is required. However, this critical test is not available in the country, and the cost of outsourcing it is prohibitively high.
There is no local manufacturer who does these kits. We have to procure them from abroad. The procurement processes are lengthy, and the kits are damn expensive. One kit to just carry out like 200 runs is almost $1 million shillings. So the expense in terms of carrying out DNA, for instance, like the case of Shakahola, is in monumental amounts.
Out of the 453 bodies retrieved from Shakahola, the government has tested 333 samples, and even fewer number out of this have been matched to their living relatives.
Which have not been matched with any relative, meaning that there are still relatives out there that needs to come to us for sample taking.
It may appear that the families of the deceased will have to summon even more patience as they endure an agonizing wait for answers. With every passing day, the closure they so desperately seek, marked by the dignified burials of their loved ones, remains just out of reach. Brenda Wanga, Citizen TV.
Family, friends and colleagues of the late Colonel retired James Gitahi gathered on Thursday to pay tribute to the esteemed veteran pilot. During a requiem mass at St. Catherine of Siena Church in Kitisuru, here in Nairobi, eulogies painted a picture of a legendary aviator and a man of unwavering integrity, one who devoted himself wholeheartedly to both his family and his country. Gitahi, who tragically lost his life in a road accident last Wednesday, will be laid to rest on Saturday at his Manzoni home in Machakos County. Ben Kirui attended the service and brings us this story.
At St. Catherine of Siena in Kitsuru, westlands of Nairobi, friends, dignitaries, former military officers and colleagues gathered alongside family to pay tribute to the late retired Colonel James Gitahi. Fondly remembered for his service and dedication, Gitahi was a revered pilot who flew former Presidents Mwai Kibaki and Daniel Arap Moi, leaving behind a legacy of excellence and patriotism.
To just kind of give you tributes.
During the emotional requiem mass, heartfelt tributes flowed from his family, who remembered him as a devoted and supportive father, always guiding and inspiring his children to become the best versions of themselves.
Losing my old man has left me such an emptiness in my heart that I doubt can ever be filled, realizing that I will never get to make and see him being proud and happy of me one more time from up above and beyond the blue skies, and that surely your guiding hand will forever be on my shoulder.
He found joy in the skies, and in doing so, he lived a life of purpose, precision, and pure excellence. He wasn't just good at what he did, he was exceptional.
My cheerleader. We never had separate bank accounts. You allowed me to be myself. Always wanted me to be happy. How I had learned to listen and listen, even to listen to you as you talked in your sleep.
His peers, along with former military colleagues and trainees, fondly remembered his exceptional skills and deep aviation expertise, honoring the lasting impact he had on those he mentored.
In recognition of his thoughtful leadership and the profound impact he had on his colleagues and the organization, the management offered Colonel JG an opportunity to fly one last time with his family on May 19, 2023. This poignant gesture served as a testament to Bluebird's deep appreciation for his exceptional contributions.
Getahi was also celebrated as a true friend, known for his generosity and his remarkable ability to build lasting relationships with people from all walks of life.
I know there's a best friend who make me to know Betty, Mrs. Gadon Masharia. She is here. We have been with her somewhere else for a function like this. And I know Betty. I know Gadon for a long time. She will never leave her friend.
The background is that the Getahis and the Masharias have a very strong friendship that runs for very many years. And when the Masharias were building Royal Media, Betty was there always, supporting in many various ways. Those of you who know Betty know she's an astute business lady, and Royal Media benefited immensely from her business acumen.
The political class stood in solidarity with his widow-nominated Senator Betty Montet, recognizing the love and joy she shared with her late husband. They praised Betty as a source of unwavering positivity, cherishing the bond she and Getahi built over the years.
We saw what it means for a woman to be loved. Senator Montet is happy, she's jovial, she's got a clean heart, she's a good sport, and a woman can only be those attributes if she's loved at home.
Retired Colonel James Getahi tragically lost his life in a horrific road accident at Kyumvi Junction on Mombasa Highway on Wednesday, March 5th. He will be laid to rest on Saturday at his Manzoni home in Machakos County. Ben Kirui, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
Our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Senator Montet, and may the late Colonel Getahi rest in peace. Now, where were you some 18 years ago? Because that's when M-Pesa was born. What were you doing at the time? Were you sending money or receiving? That will be our focus on Data Point coming up. Here it is. Coming up on Data Point, tracking the numbers as M-Pesa mobile money transfer service turns 18.
Ramadan is a universal religious rite, and it is part of one of the 5 pillars of the Islamic faith. However, each country adds its own flair to it, making this wholly awaited month an even more personalized and joyous occasion that brings worshippers closer to their Creator.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited, your one-stop shop for affordable and quality guaranteed roofing solutions. Grab our offers. Pay 40%, get same-day production, relax at home, and enjoy free delivery. Call us on 0722 638383. Order today at www.royalmabati.com.
The Smarter Bundle. Bundle imetosha. 30 GB monthly data.
400 minutes talk time to any network. 100% rudishiwa on Airtel Money transactions, bank to wallet, pay bills, and agent withdrawals. Subscribe to the Smarter Bundle today. Dial *544# or visit My Airtel app. Airtel Smarter Bundle. Browse, chat, call. Airtel Money. Airtel, a reason to imagine.
Buroti maguta, keja kwa mtaa mambo fiti. Nafungua bahasha wao nikismile, mambo ni murwa, kop imesoti yeketa, biza maplot, nikasip tu. Kaniflotia mboka, leti koto, nikasip tu.
Na payslip yako, unaweza pata mobile loan ya 500,000 na personal loan ya 9 million. Tembelea Cooperative Bank branch leo. Cooperative Bank, we are you.
Roto Tanks. Roto Tanks. Built like a tank.
Now, in March 2007, the M-Pesa money transfer service was launched in Kenya, becoming the first of its kind anywhere in the world. A year later, 2 million users had registered for the service, sending money to one another and to persons that had yet to register for M-Pesa. By March 2008, 14.8 billion shillings worth of transactions had taken place on the M-Pesa platform. At the time, Safaricom Limited had just over 10 million subscribers who have now grown to more than 35 million in Kenya alone, majority of whom are also active members or users of M-Pesa. And so tonight on Data Point, we reflect on the journey of 18 years in numbers, which I want us now to reflect on, starting with how much the registration as well as the agents have grown. So in 2008 March, which is 1 year after M-Pesa was launched in the country, the users were 2 million, just over 2 million. The agents were just about 2,329. You may find this unbelievable. But now, 18 years later, we are talking about 33.4 million users. And the agents are spread across the country at 296,000. And actually, Safaricom says that when they look at the analysis, no M-Pesa user goes beyond 2 kilometers to reach an M-Pesa agent. Now, if you have to look at the volume of transactions and the values, let's reflect on the growth. So in 2007-2008, the value of transactions was 14.8 billion shillings. Of course, it was a new service. But now for the financial year 2023-2024, there were 28.3 billion transactions. That is, if you count each transaction that you execute, 28 billion of them, and that was the value of 40.24 trillion shillings. So meaning 40 trillion shillings was processed through M-Pesa for that financial year ending March 2024. But for the half year between April 2024 and September 2024, we are talking about 17.1 billion. So 6 months, 17.1 billion transactions of the value of 20.9 trillion shillings. So you can imagine the country's budget is about 4.2 trillion shillings. So meaning if government was to make all its payments from this budget at 4.2 trillion shillings, it would require about 10 years to match the transaction volume of the Safaricom M-Pesa. Now, to something else for the half year 2024-2025, again, transactions reported at 20.9 billion shillings. But there's an important number here. They say that 56.9% of the transactions are actually non-chargeable, meaning they are low volumes. These are transactions that are 100 shillings and below that you not be charged any transaction fee, and the equivalence of that is 8.2 trillion shillings. So remember, we are talking about transactions going up to 20 trillion shillings for the half year. So that percentage of 8.2, representing 8.2 equivalence, has not been charged. Let's focus on something else that you may want to reflect on. Per second, M-Pesa says that there are 4,000 transactions happening every second. The person-to-person, meaning peer-to-peer, you're talking about some 374 transactions. This is an average number, but during peak time, it may go higher, up to about 1,300. For person-to-business, the transactions are an average of 404 per second. For loans taken, it's about 144 transactions per second. And Fuliza is reporting 143 on average per second. And of course, peak hours, like I said, report different numbers. So the peak hours are between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. Time of the day. Now, March 2025, again, we're talking about 296,000 agents spread across the country. And the merchants, meaning the people that will use till number or pay bill number, have grown to 658,669. This is a service that was not available at the start of M-Pesa back in 2007. For Pochi la Biashara, which is a wallet that separates your resources from your personal account to what would be your revenue for a business that you're running, the Pochi la Biashara has gotten some 869,000 subscribers that are using that service. What's more, that we can reflect on the journey of M-Pesa at 18, the financial inclusion. This is data that is taken from both the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics and Safaricom. So they say that in 2006, which is a year before Safaricom launched the service M-Pesa, the country talked about 27% of inclusion, meaning that people had access to affordable services, whether it's at a bank or what you'd call formal financial transactions. In 2021, that number has grown to 84%. And you'll be looking at what the impact of mobile money transfer has been to this. For the rural, rural community, the inclusion in 2006 was 24%. In 2021, it had grown to 79%. This is the figure that you find from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics. In the urban areas, the inclusion in 2006 was 36%. That has grown to 92% now. An important factor here is about gender disparity in financial inclusion. In 2006, only 21% of women had access to affordable services in the financial sector. This has grown to 82% by 2021. For male, it was better than women, meaning 33%, but has also grown to 86%, which is almost a gender parity if you had to compare 82% versus 86%. So you can imagine that in 2006, what was happening here, a lot of women are depending on men for financial transactions, and you know what can happen, especially when you send money to someone else to bring to someone else. Now, this, again, gives us a reflection on what has been happening between mobile money, banks, and SACCOs. So in 2006, of course, there was no mobile money transfer. Remember, like I told you, M-Pesa was the first of a kind in the world. But now that has grown to 81.4%, according to the numbers of the KNBS in 2021. In 2006, financial inclusion in reference to banks was at 14%. This has grown to 44% in the year 2021. Of course, most banks are also depending on mobile money transfer services, including from M-Pesa. For SACCOs, there's a slight decline from 13% of inclusion through SACCOs to drop to 9.6%. Of course, you may attribute that to the development and the growth that has happened in this other formal sector of mobile money and the banks. Now, what more do we know? It's about M-Pesa Africa going beyond the borders, that is reporting presence in all these countries. We're talking about Ethiopia, which launched in August of 2023. The DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, launched in November 2012. Of course, Kenya, the first M-Pesa services in March 2007. Tanzania, M-Pesa services launched in April 2008. Mozambique launched in May 2013. And Lesotho launched in July 2013. So far, they're talking about some more than 60 million customers that are using M-Pesa in all those countries. Of course, the transactions per day are put at 180 million per day. You can imagine that volume. Majority, again, in the Republic of Kenya. The agents, these are the people that will be assisting you to make some of these transactions, whether it's to send money, to deposit money, or to withdraw money. Then you're talking about more than 680,000 of them. And the merchants, those that use pay bill numbers and till numbers, we are talking about 1.15 million merchants. So what's more do we need to reflect on? It's in regards to the M-Pesa Ethiopia. So, of course, this is after Safaricom went to Ethiopia a few years ago, launched in August 2023. The customer base has been reported at 10.8 million by December of 2024. And now it is possible, as since October last year, it is possible to send money between Kenya and Ethiopia. So there's an interaction between Ethiopian birr and the Kenya shilling because of that development. So what's more that we can reflect on is what it looks like in the future enablers plus, M-Pesa is talking about handset and data affordability because they're moving into high-end devices and also access to better services and mobile applications. So there's a question of access to 4G devices that they're also hoping that this can be a possibility to more in the population, but also the digital literacy, because even if you have a smartphone, you'll need to know how to use it and how to manipulate it, especially to access the various services that are in as far as these sort of services are concerned. So that's what it looks like, but obviously, there's that question that you will want to ask yourself of where you were in March 2007. Like I asked earlier, were you receiving money or were you sending money? There are some that were not even registered because of age. You have to be 18 to be registered, really. And that is data point for this week as M-Pesa marks 18 years of service. Now, in other news, the Ministry of Education has directed that up to 60% of current grade 9 learners should pursue the science, technology, engineering and mathematics pathway in senior secondary schools starting January next year. Despite the ambitious plan, hurdles stand in the way of the government, schools and even the learners. Several schools report lacking essential facilities like laboratories that are crucial for the STEM pathway. Education CS Julius Migos says the ministry is keen on addressing the challenges before the transition in January 2026. Safin Achieng' reports.
Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos joined stakeholders in Nairobi to conclude the nationwide series of dialogues on senior school transition. According to the transition guidelines released by the Ministry of Education, senior secondary schools will be required to offer at least 2 career pathways, with a STEM career pathway being compulsory. This has exacerbated the existing concerns about the infrastructural gaps. Stakeholders reveal that many schools lack the basic facilities like laboratories to effectively deliver STEM, which targets to accommodate about 60% of learners.
We've been informed about some of the gaps that exist in learning infrastructure, the inadequate number of teachers, the inadequate number of laboratories, and the shortage of ICT equipment, among other issues.
We would want to give our assurance that, yes, we have listened, and all that has been said, we shall make sure that we incorporate into what we are doing.
The ministry has set 4 parameters of categorization of schools, ranging from whether they offer 3 or 2 career pathways, whether they are mixed or single-gender schools, day or a hybrid of day and boarding, as well as senior schools for learners with special needs.
For triple pathway schools, those ones will offer the 3 pathways: STEM, arts and sports, and social sciences. And that does not mean that a learner will be forced to do the 3. It is the school that will be offering.
Learners will also have to choose a total of 12 senior schools, which will be used to make the final decision on their placement. The decision will also be made based on their performance in the Kenya Junior Secondary Education Assessment to be undertaken between October 27th and November 5th, 2025, their ability and talent, regional balance, as well as availability of space and resources in respective schools applied for.
This is fair.
The learning areas for senior secondary school have also been rationalized, with learners expected to undertake only 7 subjects. 4 will be core subjects and 3 shall be selected from the pathways and the tracks of choice.
Without a language, of course, you'll not be able to communicate effectively. And that is why we are saying English is part of the core subjects in senior school. They should be able to have the critical thinking skills. They should be able to carry out basic research and scientific skills. They should be able also to exploit their talents.
The pioneer cohort of grade 9 learners will join grade 10 in January next year. Safin Achieng' Citizen TV.
Now, the inquest into the death of Rex Masai during last year's Gen Z protest took a chilling turn on Thursday as a key witness detailed disturbing police actions. Demonstrator Mekatilili Mweru testified that on June 24, 2024, during protest in Nairobi CBD, he overheard an officer called Lise Mwacheni akufie hapo, translated as "let him die there," after spotting a young man lying in a pool of blood, describing the police response as brutal. Mweru recounted excessive force used to disperse protesters, including firearms and batons. He further testified that he and his friend Laban Njoroge were cornered on Moi Avenue, and as they attempted to flee, Laban tripped, leading to their capture. And as new testimonies emerged, the inquest continues to unravel the events of that fateful day in pursuit of justice for Rex Masai.
Barabara. Na alikuwa na mwenzake. Naam. Mwenzake nikasikia akiambia polisi awasaidie. So nikasikia polisi amesema wacha akufia hapo huyo. Kile nilikuwa nimetopo kichapo singeweza kumsaidia.
And I hereby take out the matter out of tomorrow's course list so that the expert witnesses can testify first.
Rex Masai was the first to die in those Gen Z protests on the 20th of June 2024. We are taking a short break here on Tonight. When we come back, here is what's coming up. Kenya Pipeline announces 10 billion shillings profit, representing a 32% increase from previous year.
Life is about building benchmarks to remember. We're not just discussing blueprints and figures. We're talking about making our mark, building our pride, joy, and future. It's not just metal, it's safety. It's peace of mind that makes this place home. Our steel isn't just about strength, it's about resilience. Every time we lay a foundation or raise a roof, we're building more than just structures. We're building a legacy, a footprint, a promise to remember for life. Our mark isn't just in the buildings we build. It's in the lives we impact, the communities we strengthen, and together we'll leave our mark on this world.
At Amaco Insurance, we ensure safe journeys by protecting public vehicles and the lives on board. With every policy, we provide full coverage for peace of mind on every ride. Your trust makes us the #1 choice for PSV insurance. We also insure private and commercial vehicles, businesses, livestock, homes, schools, and more. Visit us today and let's plan your insurance together.
Thank you for making last year's Run for the Bibleless a huge success. Because of your support, the New Testament in the Chonyi language was completed and launched. And now, BTL invites you to the 18th edition of the Run for the Bibleless on 15th March 2025. Register today at the BTL centers in Upper Hill Ruiru, AGC Lakeview Nakuru, Reformed Church Eldoret, and at the Keswick Bookshops in Nairobi and Nakuru. For more information, call 0722-209-606 or email us at info@btlkenya.org.
Just like the instinct to push limits is in your blood, or creating all kinds of social media content, or to concoct flavors that dance on the tongue, it's also in your blood to save lives. Donate today and ensure a tomorrow for you and all Kenyans. Join us. Visit a regional blood donation center near you to make your donation. Regional donation centers can be found near referral hospitals or county blood satellites within county hospitals, because it's in your blood to be the difference.
My father, the king, is just like every other man. He's a free soul.
Will he be pleased to see me?
Grand prize won! Win big with the WRC Safari Rally 2025. Revisha and feel the roar!
In business, the Kenya Pipeline Company has posted a 10 billion shilling pre-tax profit for the 2023-2024 financial year. This is a 32% rise from 7.6 billion shillings the previous year. KPC's revenue jumped 15% to 35.4 billion shillings, boosted by increased fuel sales and favorable forex rates. Our reporter Wamboi Wangoe brings us the details.
During the period, the total fuel throughput grew 6% to 9.1 million cubic meters. Export volumes to the region surged by 12% to 4.7 million cubic meters. Domestic supply remained steady at 4.5 million cubic meters. This has seen the company's pre-tax profits jump by 32% year-on-year to 10 billion shillings. The company has attributed the growth to improved efficiency and continued investment in infrastructure. To enhance operations, KPC is upgrading pipeline security, expanding capacity on the Nairobi to Eldoret line, and improving loading systems. The company has since finalized the acquisition of the Kenya Petroleum Refineries Limited, which it has operated under a lease agreement since 2017. This will allow it to leverage KPRL's fuel storage assets, cementing Kenya's position as a regional hub for oil and gas. KPC further saying that it is exploring alternative revenue streams such as fiber optic cable and investments in liquefied petroleum gas projects. Wamboi Wangoi, Citizen TV.
The government will set up a 9-member board to ensure the revival of Kenya Union of Savings and Credit Cooperatives, KUSCO. Cabinet Secretary for Cooperatives, Wycliffe Oparanya, says the cabinet has approved the appointment of a committee of experts to review the SACCOs Societies Act. Jimmy Mbogo has more on the efforts to recover assets from the now beleaguered KUSCO.
The government has embarked on a liquidation process of KUSCO assets as part of its efforts to recover some of the funds that were misappropriated at the institution. Among the assets set for liquidation are the company's vehicles which have already been disposed of, as well as investment in housing. Despite the efforts, the ministry has expressed low optimism, even as they give SACCOs at least 2 years to begin receiving any kind of cash.
At the moment, already the small savers who were deposited with KUSCO, they have been refunded 136 million Kenya shillings, which they have been refunded, and we are going to do this progressively as we realize some of the assets that we feel they are necessary to be held by KUSCO, which they can be disposed of.
And although the Cabinet Secretary for Cooperative insists that there were no losses at KUSCO, the government has committed to continue pursuing those responsible for any misappropriation that happened.
You wait. You will see what is going to happen. And it's not only KUSCO. There are others that have problems where you will see action being taken. Even if you are left, so long as you are alive, unless you go and hang yourself, so long as you are alive, you are going to be pursued.
The government now says it has been able to reconstruct KUSCO book of accounts, setting the stage for more recoveries to be made. Going forward, the Cabinet Secretary says the institution will only be allowed to stick to advocacy as its core business.
The rest of the issues we have shed off. If that insurance was doing well, we can, it will be decided, it will be sold off. or if we see it is viable, we can allow it to operate on its own without any connection with Cusco.
The ministry will further institute reforms to ensure that there are no gaps in the law, allowing SASTRA to provide oversight, even as the CS hinted at tighter regulation for the sector, which controlled over 1.2 trillion shillings in savings. With an asset base of 1.8 trillion shillings and a loan book of over 1 trillion shillings, representing at least 30% of the country's GDP. Jamie Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The Kenya Climate Innovation Center, KCSC, has officially launched the Dream Hub Kenya. This is a groundbreaking initiative that integrates solar energy into the dairy and horticulture subsectors to enhance productivity, sustainability, and economic growth. Dennis Otieno has the details.
So we'll officially unveil the Dream Hub.
The distributed renewable energy ecosystem model Dream Hub aims to tackle a majority of the challenges that have long hindered growth in Kenya's agriculture sector, which remains the backbone of the economy. The hurdles include high energy costs, post-harvest losses, and limited access to financing. KCIC has kicked off the project, targeting dairy and horticulture subsectors.
The biggest emitter is actually dairy, followed by horticulture. So we thought that if we can be able to green those two, then we will have solved close to 70% of the problem of greenhouse gas emissions in the country. The idea is to scale up to all agricultural value chains, and as you know, there are over 100 agricultural value chains.
At the heart of the initiative is a revolving pass loan fund, which will make solar-powered agricultural equipment more accessible by offering affordable financing options. This is expected to help farmers lower costs and increase productivity, while also contributing to climate resilience. Additionally, the program will train 1,000 youth and women agri-solar entrepreneurs from last-mile communities, equipping them with the skills to integrate clean energy solutions into their businesses.
This project is eventually going to be a $2.2 million project. The current year is about 750,000, and then this next phase will be about $1.5 million. So that is the commitment to this phase.
With solar energy adoption in farming expected to boost sustainability and efficiency, the Dream Hub is seen as a crucial step toward climate-smart agriculture and renewable energy integration in Kenya's food systems.
By integrating solar-powered irrigation, cooling, and processing solutions into these critical agricultural value chains, the Dream Hub is directly addressing these challenges, ensuring that farmers can produce more, waste less, and earn better incomes.
The adoption of solar energy for farming in Kenya is growing but remains relatively slow. However, initiatives like Dream Hub Kenya and similar developments indicate a growing recognition of the benefits of solar energy in agriculture. Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, so we have one more break before News Gang, and when we come back, we'll be bringing you the stories on the sports. Stay tuned.
When I have back pain, I reach for 2 tablets of Panadol Extra. It's boosted by caffeine for fast relief of strong pain, like headache, toothache, and muscle pain. And I am finally released from pain and ready to be there for those who need me. Try Panadol Extra for fast and effective relief from strong pain.
Want to study in the USA or Canada, but worried about tuition fee? Africa Airlift Initiative will help you secure scholarship and student loan. Whether you're looking to start your undergraduate, diploma, transfer, pursue a master's, or advance to a PhD, we've got you covered. Get expert guidance every step of the way. Visit AfricaAirliftinitiative.com or call 0719 857754. Africa Airlift Initiative. Success beyond borders.
Karibuni sana. Thank you so much for coming.
Hey, that shirt has seen better days. Mara, it's your faded shirt. Mara, it's your faded roof. Look at our roof from Mabati Rolling Mills. Still as vibrant after all these years. Unlike your shirt.
Yes, MRM steel roofing tiles are made using advanced color coating technology that makes the color last.
The tiles are even wider, so you use less pieces.
Which saved us money. So you mean Mabati Rolling Mills saves you money?
Yeah!
Steal the show with versatile, Oriental and Elegantile steel roofing tiles. Backed by a genuine warranty only from Mabati Rolling Mills. Visit our dealership or call us today at 0788 202020.
Please can I have that and that? Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Ukiwin, beshte yako in your local shop win too. Hii ni the Cadbury Big Win-Win. Nunua any two participating Cadbury products. Scan QR code ama WhatsApp hi kunominate beshte yako in your local shop. Stand a chance ya kushinda share yako in cash prizes plus more. A win for you is a win for all. T's and C's apply.
But I know that meat looks tender, but maybe not so much when your chest is burning. Remember what happened the last time? Hey, dude, you don't listen, man. Are you testing yourself? I tried looking out for you, bro. Hey, you see now? How's the heartburn? Look now, it's burning.
Do not hold back in any situation. Eno gets to work on the 6 symptoms of heartburn fast.
What? You do know you said all of that out loud, right?
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
Royal Mabati Factory Limited,
your one-stop shop for affordable and quality guaranteed roofing solutions. Grab our offers. Pay 40%, get same-day production, relax at home, and enjoy free delivery. Call us on 0722 638383.
Order today at www.royalmabati.com.
Now, in sports, the Kenya Special Olympics floorball team is optimistic of bringing home a medal from the 2025 Winter Games in Turin, Italy. It has a busy 4 days of matches and training for the team since landing in Turin 5 days ago. Our sports editor Michael Kinyi caught up with the team in Turin today and filed the following report.
Over 100 nations are represented in Turin at this year's Games. For Kenya, there is only one team, the floorball men's team, that has had mixed results in the matches played so far. The first day was hectic as the teams played in different groups in round-robin format for classification.
So, we had to do divisioning to categorize all of them into their ability. So we had 3 divisions in the first divisioning stage. So Kenya happened now to be placed in Division 1 because they played very well in all the matches. So we were in Division 1, we held Division 2 and Division 3.
It has been a long 2-year journey of training the players with intellectual disability.
Now, as our Special Olympics coaches, we have adapted to a situation whereby we have to break down even the language to the language that they can understand. That's number one. Then when you are doing your demonstrations, everything that you are doing, make sure you do it physically so that for them, they understand things by observing.
Out of 13 countries, Kenya has done well and are already in the medal bracket in their category. So far, so good for Team Kenya. The matches they have played qualifies them for a bronze medal. The classification later tonight will see if Kenya will make it to the finals to fight for gold or silver. Michael Kinyi for Citizen TV in Turin, Italy.
New Harambee Stars coach Ben McCarthy has defended the decision to call up 48 players for his first camp ahead of the World Cup qualifiers later this month. The coach says he called up the big number so that players can know his coaching style and he can have a closer look at them, especially the young players who have been drafted in.
Also, a look at players because I wasn't fortunate enough to watch them. A lot of matches. I've only been to one match so far since I joined, so I didn't get a wide variety of knowing who and what players are. So I had to kind of rely on the intel on Coach Francis and some of the coaches that's been part and parcel of the team before. So I had to rely on them, on certain players that I asked about and that, and also video analysis. When you watch videos, games, then you kind of see. I know it's not ideal, but I just had to because the time that I came in wasn't enough. So
the WRC Safari Rally Service Park will be fully operational by Sunday, with all departments expected to shift their operations to Naivasha by Monday next week. The rally team's containers have started arriving in Naivasha, with Toyota and Hyundai teams opening their containers on Thursday afternoon. The Fordham Sports containers are in the county, as well as were being transported to Naivasha. The number of drivers in this year's rally has increased to 50, though the category P1 remains unchanged. The increase is in category P2 and P3. They are all expected to do their recce the roads.
They are crewed on how and checking on how to make sure that they set the machines according to the weather and according to the new setup of the new stages.